Good afternoon, everybody. Al Getler here. Thank you for being here on another wonderful day with another wonderful guest. Lots to talk about today. Hey, what's going on in your world? Would love to hear from you. There's a comment section in whatever platform you're watching this on. You can ask questions of myself, my guest, make some comments. Would love to hear from you throughout this time together. I think you're going to really enjoy today's guest. I start off with the northwestern Vermont weather forecast every day. Goes like this. It's cloudy and cold and snowy. Okay, so we got that out of the way, right? Hey, let me ask you a question. Are you a Disney fan? Do you enjoy the Walt Disney Company and everything that it provides? I got to tell you, we are big Disney fans in my household, and I love watching the strategy of the Disney Company. I love what they offer when it comes to just the best way to do business in a lot of cases. I love the way they pivoted this year of COVID, where obviously parks having a difficult time, but the streaming service of Disney Plus just taking off. I mean, The Mandalorian is such a huge part of our lives here. It's incredible. But Disney sets the bar when it comes to how a company operates. The place that I love to be the most, though, personally, is Disney World. My family and I have had many, many fantastic vacations there. And we just enjoy the parks so much. We enjoy the quality. I got to tell you, when I first went to a Disney park, I was a late bloomer. 1998 was the first time I went. I was with a big, Irish Catholic family, and we didn't go to Disney World, But I took my kids. My girls were in their 30s now when they were younger, and I was miserable. I figured, I'm going to spend so much money at this place. There's no way this could be fun. I used to give a talk about this. One of the symbols of it was a set of Mickey ears floating in the water. Because my daughter was going to throw they were going to throw their dad overboard in that boat you take from the parking area to the Magic Kingdom. I was just miserable. Then I walked inside, and then we went on our first ride, and I was blown away. The guest experience, unbelievable. The cleanliness of the park, it's almost just it's beyond description if you've never been. Moments like the one on the left with my daughter with Peter Pan. What an enchanting, fun moment, and how much time, that character spent with my daughter and my family. It's great stuff. It's all about the Disney experience. That spot on the photo on the right, my daughter and I, in front of the statue with Walt Disney and Mickey. I mean, I just absolutely love it. So if you are a Disney fan and you are talking about and thinking about the guest experience, you've come to the right place. Because this year during the pandemic, business shifted. We've talked a lot so far about being nimble, about making changes quickly, about how the way we work with the customer has changed so rapidly. We have to actually instruct our customers on how to do business with us again. And it's going to get a bit more challenging even because our customers are going to come back. They're going to be ready to do business. But how do you gain market share? Well, you gain it by one thing. It's called the customer experience. What is it like to do business with the customer? I am so excited about our guest today. He has become an old friend very quickly. We met at the beginning of COVID, and he did some great videos for our company, ANC, and we're actually broadcasting on the ANC channel today. And it was the #1 viewed video, simple video about how his barbershop that he goes to was getting back into business. Great advice. Barry Jacobson is a longtime Disney executive. He's here with us today, so let's have him join us right now. Hey, Barry, how are you?
I'm good, Al, and I'll give you our weather forecast here in beautiful Winter Garden, Florida. Clear blue skies, but cold at about 58 degrees here for Central Florida. So absolutely got a little warm up on, but I don't think I'm going to need a parka, and I know that it will not snow.
Yeah, although Lee Kitchen up in Canada is giving us a message for those of us who are like Lee and I, snow and clouds, this is the way, but he was talking about my Mandalorian reference, I'm sure. So, Barry, great to have you here. I already have a couple of comments popping in, so I'm really excited about you being here today. And here's Lee bouncing back. He says at 50, oh, come on, is that Celsius or Fahrenheit? That's just not even fair. It's not that warm here in Vermont, and I'm just below the Canadian border. Anyway, the customer experience, such a huge subject for me. I have realized in a number of ways how the customer experience, I think Disney kind of taught us what it could be. and you bring so many valuable lessons. But before we jump into that, tell everybody where you're talking to us from. And then, Barry, give us a little background on your career and what you've been a part of in the Disney environment.
Sure. Well, I'm here today in Winter Garden, Florida. As I mentioned, it's about 13 miles off the back gate of Walt Disney World, where I spent 37 years of my career in the hospitality industry, 15 years in resort operations. That's the hotel side of the business. Some time in resort special activities, managing all our VIP guests and corporate executives coming on the property. And then 16 years in corporate meetings and special events that included catering and convention services, Disney fairy tale weddings, and managing a team who planned and organized and executed key company-sponsored events, including the opening of major theme parks in Paris and Hong Kong and Tokyo, opening up the cruise line, doing the annual shareholders meeting, Michael Eisner and Bob Iger's annual management meetings, investor conferences, you name it. So I did that for 37 years, and including the last 7 years before I left Disney, opening up Disney's private home community called Golden Oak, and Club 33, which is a private club inside each one of the theme parks at Walt Disney World, as well as spas and salons. So after that time frame, I started my own consulting business, spent a little time with the Dallas Cowboys, a year as their vice president of special events, did the Super Bowl, and did a little stint out in Vegas. But now I'm helping others to figure out ways to differentiate themselves. And when you talk about, Al, when you said the customer experience, it is the differentiator to me. That will only set you apart from everybody else in the industry. There's a lot of commodities out there. There's a lot of people doing the same thing, but it's how you treat the customer, how you take care of that guest. And it really starts with leadership, setting examples, taking the employees and hiring the right positive attitude team members to be on your team, who are given the tools and the training they need to deliver on the experience, holding them accountable, which is, sometimes difficult. And then last but not least, consistency. I was just at I won't name the place, but it was on Disney property. And you know what the expectation is? You walk in the door and there's a smile and there's somebody greeting you. And I was the only one in the shop, and there were two cast members, as we call them at Disney, behind the cash wrap. They never looked at me, they never acknowledged me, and they didn't say hello. So what happens is, and I go to that consistency level, it's that disappointment. Wait a minute, where am I? I'm not at Disney World. This isn't what should happen. And I see it time and time again with businesses where they just don't consistently deliver on their day-to-day expectation for the customer.
Yeah, and there's a bit of indifference, right? I mean, I'm here. It's maybe a part-time job. Why should I care all that much? And the reality is, it's about the customer experience, and it's the culture and the rest of that. So, Barry, I think today you have put together for us, if I can move us in that direction, a way for us to remember this, and you've given it some meaning and even put it in an easy to follow format. So can we jump to the slides and talk about that?
Absolutely. So
right.
What I put together was an acronym, and it's the GUEST, GUEST, and it's all about the guest. And I think it's interchangeable when you think about this. And as I mentioned earlier, it really does start with the employee and that employee engagement and that onboarding and their first day and setting expectations for them. So as you think about the GUEST acronym, think about how you can take care of also the people that are critically important, those frontline team members who are delivering on the guest expectations. So we'll start with the letter G. And what I like to say, it's all about that warm welcome, and it's that initial greeting of that guest. It's that smile, it's that welcome, and it's how you welcome that guest when they first come in. Now, each one of these has a deeper dive. if you think, excuse me, if you think about the entrance into your business and the parking lot and the cleanliness and how you are perceived inside your office space or your dining experience, your doctor's office. There's so many things to this: body language, voice intonation. So first and foremost, think about that initial experience. Greet guests with a warm welcome and a friendly smile. I remember a story talk about cleanliness, which, as you mentioned, Al, is one of the things we're known for at Disney. I recall a time coming into the parking lot at the Polynesian when I worked there as a young leader, and my general manager, who was about 6'4", followed in one of my fellow team members on her way into her office. And I was behind him, and I watched him pick up every piece of paper that she missed on her way in. Well, I've never forgotten this story because it was an unfortunate thing, but she got a little note on her desk in red pen that said, with the papers that she had missed picking up, that said, "See me," from the GM. So I've never forgotten that story. I'm still picking up paper today in the parking lots that I see at the grocery store, at Target, or wherever you are. And it's about cleanliness. It's about greeting. So that's the G.
Well, and I love that you talk about there, because, you know, the boss, the one that did the picking up, what a great mentor opportunity to come in and say, okay, look what you missed. And I'm sure you must know Frankie, but here you go. You know, just what a great mentor you are. And I know in the past when we've talked, you've carried that forward. So that's pretty cool. And Frankie, just in case you didn't see it, Lee says hi. So we've got all kinds of things here. Now, let me ask you something about this, Barry. The team at ANC, and as I mentioned, we're broadcasting on our ANC channel today as well. We are an organization that goes into marketplaces, and we don't have a place. We walk into other people's places of business, and lots of other people do too. How do you turn the G in the acronym to that greeting when you're walking into their business and you're greeting them on their turf? Is there anything different we should think about?
Well, you know, for me, the key to everything that we really want to get back to is that social interaction and that one-on-one relationship building that's critical in business today. And I think it's going to be coming back soon. I know conventions are going to come back, and I know dining experiences will come back. But when I think about going into someone else's business, I want to make sure that I'm greeting somebody in a professional manner, that I'm using eye contact, that I'm listening. You know, listening skills are really critical when you're doing business today, because you're going to hear things and you're going to pick up on things. And, you know, they call it reflective listening, right? So that when we are talking, I say something, you say something, we go back and forth, but I've got to be able to do a yes and, as my friend Lee Kitchen always says, instead of what, no. You know, I take no completely out of my vocabulary.
Yeah.
Those kind of things.
Yeah. The yes end of improv too, right?
Yeah.
It's the invitation to go on. And,
Absolutely.
you know, yeah, I was just listening to some of the great negotiation advice that this gentleman from the FBI, who's pretty popular right now, has a new book out, talking about just that, mirroring, and how important mirroring is to be on the same plane. So that's fantastic. All right, let's jump back into your deck, if that's okay.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about the next letter. So I'll bring it up there.
Yeah, the U is all about understanding your guests, understanding your employees as individuals. And everybody has a specific need. Everybody needs a specific support. Everyone is different. And you've really got to look at the diversity of your guests, whether they're young or old. You know, you think about someone dining in a restaurant and you get a little older, or you get the bifocals like me, and it's really dark in the restaurant, you know, offering something like a little lamp, or doing things to make sure that children are well taken care of in a dining experience. And, you know, I used to love doing small things, because, you know, kids, they want to eat right away. This is, you know, I always think about children in the dining experience.
Oh, yeah.
You know, you got to have something to keep them busy, whether it's crackers or goldfish or a coloring book or something to keep them engaged. And also thinking about their dining experience, checking in with the parents and say, hey, can we bring out their food first? It's very simple. So look at your guests, understand their needs, and try to adjust your business to make sure you're understanding the diverse nature of a guest.
Yeah, and Disney is so good at that, right? I mean, I've been there with the full range of family, from my niece's younger children to, my mother-in-law, and the whole spectrum in between. And there's so many great individual stories about the Disney experience, because of that. And one of my favorites is actually, the diversity of where people come from. My son-in-law is a gifted linguist, and he serves our country in the military. And we were in the Contemporary and getting some breakfast, and all of a sudden I thought I hit my head because I couldn't understand a single word anybody was saying. The lady behind the counter was from the Middle East, and they both started speaking Farsi, and the giant smile on her face and my son-in-law's face. It's the kind of Disney moments I just absolutely love. And I think it's just what makes the place so special. So I absolutely get that. Well, let's jump back to your deck and get on to the next letter. E?
Yeah, E is all about elevating the experience and taking that experience and exceeding the expectations of your guests and thinking of ways to make it special and memorable for them. And not all these things are cost money.
No.
But you have to think beyond. So a friend of mine was sharing a story with me just yesterday about travels that he goes out to Sedona, and they eat in this particular dining facility, and they have multiple dining facilities, but they were in the Italian dining facility, but they truly wanted this amazing molten lava cake that they serve in the steakhouse.
Mm-hmm.
So he inquired to the server, is there any way we could get that dessert? She didn't say no. She said, let me check with the pastry chef and I'll get right back to you. And of course, the completely split from one side of the hotel to the other, but they made it happen. And
yeah,
there's countless stories of that. I think it's about differentiation. I think it's listening skills. I love a restaurant in Minneapolis called Ike's, named after Ike Eisenhower, and they serve this incredible burger. And but the fun part about it is you get through the burger, you get through the fries, and at the end of the meal, rather than with your check, they present you with these warm, small, quarter-size, $half size chocolate chip cookies.
Oh,
and
nice.
I've told this story a million times. Now, of course, multiply the number of guests they have throughout the year. It's flour, it's water, it's butter, it's the chocolate chips. Certainly, there's a cost to it. But if you build that into your plate cost, let's say it's 12 cents.
Mm-hmm.
No one's going to care. All they're going to remember about is, oh my gosh, you got to go to Ike's because number one, the burger is great. Number two, man, you want that warm chocolate chip cookie.
Oh yeah, that's it. That's exactly it. I mean, some of the hotel chains have caught on to what
that's about. There's really small little things you could do that don't cost money. I'll give you one more example that I love. At Golden Oak, we were fortunate enough to have a pastry chef, and people come in for their dining experiences and are enjoying the birthday celebration. So what we did is rather than offer the atypical complimentary 6-inch cake that many restaurants do, or that dessert off the menu as a surprise, certainly you can decorate the plate and everything. We would ask the organizer of the event, okay, tell us about Al's favorite dessert. Well, Al loves banana cream pie. Well, banana cream pie is not on our menu, but I got a pastry chef. Of course, and you can do it as an upsell. Would you like to take advantage of our dessert dining experience? Well, what's that about? Oh, well, we make a custom dessert for your birthday celebration. You do? So there's ways to make things special. And in this one example, we did it for an ex-CEO of a large corporation. We actually created 2 desserts that his mom used to make for him for his birthday. His mom had passed away a year before. Not only did we present the desserts, we also presented the recipes to everybody at the table. So those are the kind of little things that just exceed expectations and elevate the experience and create memories.
So Barry, this is a great comment I'm going to put up here in a second, but you've talked a lot about the physical, right? We've talked about the physical, and the reality is a lot of people have had to make the leap into e-commerce when they weren't expecting to, or it's just become a stronger part of the life. So setting the stage up for this comment from Heather Arnold, she says, any experience with or comment on e-commerce customer experience where you don't have the ability to have that face-to-face interaction. So, going back to greet and understand and exceed, and then we can include them in the rest of the the rest of the comments. What can you help Heather with in converting some of these thoughts into having that experience, that customer experience? So Heather, great comment. Thank you very much for that. And let's address that.
Yeah, that's a great question. And we've all had either superior experience, a magical moment with an e-commerce situation, or we've had a miserable moment. And I think the magical ones are taking ownership on the phone call or on the chat box, if you will, which can be very frustrating. But I've found that there's many companies out there who are taking any kind of a challenge and creating an ownership from that person who's on the other side of the phone.
Yeah.
Don't transfer me to 12 different places and make me tell my story. Hey, I see that we're not getting anywhere in the chat box. May I call you?
Yeah.
It's that type of service. Certainly, we've heard the famous story of Zappos and
Sure. Yeah.
a customer calling into them, and it doesn't matter what question you ask that person. Where can I get a pizza at 2:00 in the morning is the famous story to that group.
What a loss. That was Tony Hsieh's story too, the founder. I mean, he talks about that. I had the pleasure of being with him at Harvard, and he told that story again.
Yeah.
And for those who don't know, I mean, he and his friends were sitting around at a conference, and they decided to call his own customer center. And she found one or two places that were open in San Diego that night for 24-hour pizza. So incredible. Yeah.
So I mean, I think from an e-commerce side, certainly Amazon does a great job. Zappos, of course. And I think, now you talk about e-commerce, and then you've got these video things that are happening at healthcare.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Incredible. Great point.
Changing.
Great point. I mean, I think that chat box that we're getting used to now, probably because of our experience as a society, will turn into video chat box sooner or later. I mean, AI has a lot to do with the beginning of a lot of chats, but I'll give you one example, Heather, that I think is banner, if you don't mind, Barry. Apple bought my wife an iPad for Christmas. We decided she really needed to have more memory in it. And when I went to the Apple app on my phone to talk about trading it in, it started off as an artificial intelligence conversation. It quickly went to a live person who immediately said, "I think I should call you." And the phone rang it was probably 30 seconds, that the phone rang. And I was having a live conversation about the reasons why I should or shouldn't upgrade the iPad. Ultimately, we did, and we're waiting for it to be returned. But to your point, I mean, and again, Heather, great question. But when you get to what you've put up here so far, the greeting, the understanding, and the exceeding the expectations, obviously we're all challenged to turn that into a digital experience. So I think that's pretty great. So sorry, Barry, I grabbed the microphone.
No, the S is for solve for yes. I'll give credit to a young man that I worked with, Carl Carroll, several years ago. That was his phrase, solve for yes. Think of ways to make it easy for guests to do business with you. You've got to study your business, your end-to-end experience. And now is the time to do it. For example, when you call in somewhere and it's like, you can't get to anybody. They don't make it easy, or online it becomes difficult. Take time now to seek ways where you look at your end-to-end guest experience and you find those little glitches, as Four Seasons likes to call them, and you fix them. And you make it easy, and you make your website easy. You make your phone tree easy.
Yeah,
it's so difficult. And in the world of solve for yes, it's again what I mentioned earlier. The word no should never come out of anybody's mouth. It should always be, let me see what I can do. I used to tell my team, if it's not illegal, immoral, or unethical, there's got to be the way to do things. I'll give you one of my stories is, I've got a convention group that's spending about $2 million at Walt Disney World. I've got a very defiant and very strong meeting planner who needs his top 60 executives to have a special experience. And he says, I want to do something in the middle of Main Street, and we've got a 2:00 time frame to 4:00. And, I know what happens every day, and Al as well. It's now the 2:00 parade, not the 3:00 parade, unless they've changed it since I left. But there's a parade every day on Main Street, USA.
Absolutely.
Well, what we did with these 60 folks is we put them we were able to secure the train station area. We created a lunch up there. They got to see the parade. I couldn't put them in the middle of Main Street, but I could find a private space to make their experience special. So to have your teams think about ways to go above and beyond to solve that problem for a guest and make it special.
Yeah, and Disney's so good at that. We had an experience that I won't go into in detail. It was not a good experience, but the way it was fixed was the person said, "Have you ever seen the Magic Kingdom fireworks from the middle of the lake?" And we went, "What? Oh yeah, have you ever seen them from the middle of the lake? I mean, you can sit in the park, but have you ever seen them from the lake?" They put us on a cruise to watch the fireworks in a way that I didn't even know you could watch the fireworks, and that was an experience that happened. So to go back to Heather's point again about solving people's problems, and I'll give you my number one pet peeve right now, Barry. Everybody's got an email thing on their website where you fill it out, contact us, send an email, blah blah blah. I have had 3 different contractors for appliances, 2 for plumbing, 1 for appliances. I fill it out, they don't get back to me via email. It's like, why bother putting that on the website? It just doesn't seem to make any sense. But solving problems, I mean, huge, and being able to say yes, to put Lee's comment back up there again, yes. And I mean, it's what it's all about. And I think that's such a great point that you make. Seek ways to make it easy for the guest. So simple, yet so strong. And, I think that's true. Lee says, the 2 eyes and you have all new meanings now. So I'm not sure. What is Lee talking about there? Do you get that?
I'm not sure, but Lee is on a whole level of creativity beyond anybody I know.
He'll explain it.
He's a master of helping people to innovate their businesses, and he's one of my fellow Magic Makers group partners. I belong to an amazing group of former Disney leaders who have a company called Magic Makers Group.
Wow.
And we help businesses around the world optimize their business and build incredible customer experiences. So magicmakers.com, super group that I belong to of
fantastic
of Disney superheroes, as I like to call them. Yeah,
that's great. That's fantastic. Well, listen, let's round this out. And let's not keep people waiting because they're all dying. You know what the T stands for.
Sure.
So you ready? Here we go.
Well, I think everybody can figure it out. It's thank your customers, thank your employees, do things that let that guest or your team members know how special they are to your business. And I love now how the healthcare industry has adopted the follow-up call after you've visited a physician's office or you've had a surgical procedure. It's amazing. They call, are you okay? Are you feeling better? It's perfect.
Yeah.
And, it's the same with your team members. Look, they are the backbone of everything that is delivered on the front side, whether it's in the kitchen or whether it's a front desk agent or somebody behind the scenes from a call center. Keeping them, letting them know how important they are to your business, that every one of them matters to the end-to-end customer experience and how critically important they are. That's so important. And do nice things for them. Look, figure out a way in your budget to have that monthly pizza party or a cake or, a morning pancake breakfast, low cost, high impact. And customers are expecting today, they want to feel, that you care about them. So, show them you care by saying thank you. Thank you for your business.
Yeah, so key and important. You reminded me, we're going to have to get used to getting back to the old days, right? But one of my favorite things I did at the newspapers that I ran was I used to hire an ice cream truck, the one we used to chase down the street carrying, used to be $1 when I was a kid. Now it's probably $5, right? But I'd bring that ice cream truck to the parking lot of our company and just watch people mingle who oftentimes didn't even really interface, and it just, it was magical. I don't mean to steal the term magical. Sorry. It was pretty cool to watch that happen. So, hey, while we're here too, Lee defines it. He says illegal, immoral, unethical. As long as you don't do that. I used a version of that when I was a guest relations host in my early career. So there you go. And then He says guest is really not that difficult either. It's more difficult not to go the extra mile for a guest. And I think that's so true, Lee. Thanks for saying that. Sometimes when I look at your list here, Barry, and I look at some places that we do business, I go, oh my gosh, why can't you just? I'll give you an example that everybody knows. I won't tell you the brands involved, but there are two rather large Squarespace places where you might go to find something to fix stuff around your home. And I am never greeted. Let me go back. Let me make it easy for myself. I'm not that bright. I'm never greeted. I don't feel understood at all. Never is my experience exceeded. Oftentimes, I do not solve my problem and leave frustrated, and no one ever thanks me. So I'll leave it up to the imagination of what I might be talking about or where I might be talking about. But Barry, talk about what Lee says here. It's so easy not to go the extra mile. Kind of round it out and just talk to us about that, especially to the people who are here today that can make a difference within their company and address that.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. And I said it earlier, there's no excuse for poor service. I know exactly the two big box places you're talking about. And if you dialed it back when one of those first started, and if we get to my next slide, they were on purpose. They knew every day what their mission was when they first opened that. And then they forgot about it.
Mm-hmm.
And the other one came along that I think one is orange and one is blue. And the blue one came along and said, hey, we can do it like they used to do it. We can do it better. And we are superior at it. And they were great. Now, to your point, I was recently in one of those, and you can't find somebody there to help you.
No.
There's a guy like me who's uneducated as it relates to mechanical. I don't know what the heck I'm doing, but I need somebody to help me. So at the end of the day, it's all about the leadership, setting examples, telling stories, what it looks like every single day consistently on delivering on that experience. And I think that's why, 99.999% of the time, Walt Disney World gets it right. Because we have a maniacal focus every single day on delivering on the guest experience and delivering on the employee experience. So I think as you think about the guest program, it's very simple, but you have to deep dive into each one of these.
Absolutely.
And really focus on what does this mean and what am I doing every single day to make sure this is consistently happening in my business.
So let's get on to your next slide on why it happens and what it means.
Yeah, so I came up with this equation, and as you have heard me say, it's all about people.
Mm-hmm.
It's about the people that you hire. It's about hiring people with great attitudes. It's about training them, developing them, giving them opportunities to grow. So that would be the first P that would be part of this equation. And the second is place. So we talked a little bit about that. And place is all about your physical plant. What does it look like? Is it clean? Are your restrooms clean? Is your parking lot clean? Are your windows clean? Are you following safety protocols, which are so critical right now because, everyone is still thinking about, what's going on with the pandemic, and we're soon to get, vaccines, but certainly cleanliness, are you organized? I went out and did some work with a client, and I went to 6 different locations, and it happened to be a physician type operation. And in 6 different locations, they had a signage that was different. It was different fonts. It was taped up all over the walls, telling people about safety protocols, and it was just disorganized, and it was pristine. And at Disney we call that good show and bad show. It was a bad show. Right. And so when I pointed that out to them, they were like, oh my gosh, you're right. We should be using one font. We should be using our colors that go with our brand. Oh, the back stations of our receptionist areas, when you go in and you're greeted for that first time, they had stickies everywhere. So that starts out my trepidation as a patient going,
Sure.
oh my God, what is it going to be when I go and see the doc? Or what's it going to be like when I'm in the waiting room? I hope it's
Right.
clean. I hope it's organized. So there's all these things that you absolutely can think about your place.
It's funny, Barry, you say that. In this house, there is a laminator. That's a key tool of this house. Nancy, my wife, bought that and said anything we ever do that's important that we have to display has to be laminated for our businesses, at the very least, meaning, to that point. And it's got to be designed well. But, Disney goes obviously far beyond that. But yeah, I mean, I get your point. It makes so much sense. Look at it right from the customer's perspective. What are they seeing? And that changes everything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The next P in the equation, as I alluded to, is purpose. What is your common purpose? What are you doing every single day? What do you tell your team members about delivering an experience? So at Disney, obviously, we create happiness. Your job is to make everyone happy and go that next level of deliverable. Other companies, Starbucks, for example, start everybody's morning in a special way, greet them, make them feel special, and send them out on their day with a great product. There's all kinds of companies that have wonderful purposes. And if you tell your team what it's all about every single day, they will understand their purpose of coming to work every day. And then the next P is pride. Take pride in what you do. Be cognizant of excellence. It's so simple to slip, and sure, you make mistakes, but if you profess to have an incredible burger, then that burger's got to be consistently done every single day. And if it's important for the bun to be buttered, it's buttered. If the lettuce is to be crisp, it's crisp. If it comes with 2 pickles, it comes with 2 pickles. And it's medium rare, and however it is, you have to insist upon that. And if you let your team know, hey, there's no excuse for mediocre. We take pride in our cleanliness. We take pride in how we talk to people. We take pride in representing our brand. You get that culture right from the beginning, you will have that pride instilled in your people, and they will come to work every day protecting your brand. If you do all 4, people plus place plus purpose plus pride, I guarantee you're going to get the big P, profit. Do the 4 on this side. That is a success equation that I came up with, and I think it can work for any business.
Yeah. So you have some calls to action. So let's kind of run through those real quick.
Here's a calls to action. Safety first. Nothing is changing with that. We are going to get through this pandemic, and I think so many companies, one in particular, I think has a great program, Westgate Resorts. If you haven't looked at their program, they've shared it nationwide, and it's an amazing program on safety and cleanliness and fighting against any type of issues with the pandemic. Hire, training, tools. You've got to give those to your team. You've got to hold them accountable, and you've got to give them the tools they need to do their job. Be purposeful. Know what you're doing every day and stay on purpose. Don't change. If you're the greatest in delivering on an experience, be consistent with it and insist upon it. Be guest and team member focused. Understand your guests. Empower your teams. Give them the opportunity to make decisions. At time to time, they might make the wrong one, but it's a learning experience. Empower them to take care of the guests. And celebrate and reward your teams. Let them know how important they are and how much they matter to your business, and then thank your guests for their visit. Those are the call to actions.
Fantastic. And I'm thanking everybody. So important. My daughter had a college interview yesterday, and we said, look, 2 things. First an email, then a note card. Remember that the business of thanking people never gets old. And to me, in my opinion, is always underrated. So, I think that's fantastic. So what do you say we go to the man himself? Would that be okay? Can I go to that slide?
Absolutely.
There it is.
So, this is a great quote from Walt Disney. And, you can design and create and build the most wonderful place in the world, but it takes people to make the dream a reality. It is all about your leaders, your team members, and They will, if you provide them with the right tools, if you provide them with guidance, if you insist upon accountabilities and responsibilities and empower them, they will take care of your customers. They will make the dream a reality. There's no doubt in my mind.
So true. So true. And one day, Barry, I want to, while the slide is up here, maybe you can point me the direction. Maybe you're this person, but I'd love to dig into the reasons why everything Walt envisioned. Today, we're now 70 years, 80 years past his vision. And it's still today, it's spoken like first person, like he's standing here right next to us. Just incredible. But
absolutely. And, for me, I talk about this in another program that I deliver. It's all about being intentional. The Walt Disney Company, Disney, but Walt really started it very early on, looking at every single detail that would affect the guest experience. And, one famous story is, about our trash cans. Everybody knows that we have numerous trash cans throughout the property. They're all unique and different and special. They're indigenous to each one of the lands that we have around every single theme park or every resort. But Walt realized right away he wanted a clean place. He didn't want it to look like the rest of the carnivals or fairs or theme parks, if you will. They weren't amusement parks, as they were called, that were filthy. And so he purposely went out and looked at people and behavior on dropping paper. And that's why our trash cans are a certain X amount of feet apart at Walt Disney World, because he knew that people instinctively, if there wasn't a trash can around, they would drop it on the floor. So it's all about being intentional. And, even I found out, I didn't know this, that trash can that now we see everywhere, that was Walt's design, because he didn't want the smells to emanate from that trash can. So attention to detail, intentional looking at everything is why I believe Disney and others who pay attention to detail are successful, and why he's still a legend in delivering on the guest experience. I think I lost your audio, Al.
Sorry. Yeah, I think that he in the beginning of Disney, the park idea, he said to his wife, "I want to create an amusement park," and her response was, "Why would you want to create something with all that dirty smell?" And he said, "No. This amusement park will be clean, and you'll want to go there with your kids." I love that from the very beginning, he was challenged and said, "Challenge met. This is what I'm going to create." So just great stuff. And I have a huge respect for Walt Disney and everything he represents. And I have a huge respect for everything you represent, Barry. So I know today, you have an offer. I've been putting up your email address up there on the screen, but I know that you, and I'll do that right now again, because you have an offer. I don't have your email address. I have your website. But your email address is Barry at this address. Is that correct?
It's Barry Jacobson1 at me.com.
Okay, me.com. Well, I'll get that up here in a second. That being said, though, if someone goes ahead and writes to you and asks for it, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, you will send them a PDF that looks an awful lot like this. Is that correct?
Exactly. We'll send you the PDF. It is the guest program that we just outlined. I think it's a simple and easy way for you to begin, thinking further about your guest experience. Because I know most people, look, that's paramount to delivering on excellence. But if you'd like to have this, I'm happy to send it to you, and you can post it or you can use it in any manner you want. And, listen, I love creating and elevating the experience. That's what I live for every single day. My business helps other people do that, as well as the Magic Makers group that I belong to. And Al, you know what? Always a pleasure to spend time with you. Thank you,
Barry. Same here. Absolutely, my pleasure. And we'll leave the email address up there again. Again, if you would like to write to Barry, he will send you a PDF of this that you can have to not only refer to yourself, but also to share it with your staff. And I think that's really key and important. And I'm not going to let you off that easy, Barry. We are going to go back to the deck one more time here. And we'll also say that if you want to reach out to Barry, here are all the places that you can do that on his email address. You can connect with him on LinkedIn. There's his website. Even jot down the phone number. You could give him a call. Barry, you're working with all kinds of things you mentioned, and maybe people didn't grab onto it, but you have you even have arena experience. I know you're doing some work with an NHL team right now, and you've got a lot going on. But any size business should give you a call, though. Is that correct?
Yes, I think at the end of the day, what I love doing is going in and helping others to build their culture of excellence, to optimize their business, and to drive results. I mean, that's what I believe I can help with. And, I've spent all my life doing that from the time my mom helped me understand what hospitality was all about, to the great education, to many mentors and leaders at Disney who I cherish till today. And the lucky times that I had with so many great people that I worked with who got the message, which was, let's make this fun, let's make this exciting, and let's take care of the cast, the employees, the staff, the team, and deliver on the excellent guest experience.
Well, you've delivered today. Larry says, great job, Barry.
Thanks.
Lee Kitchen says, great show, guys. Thank you both. You're welcome, Lee. And Lee, we're going to have you on here real soon, as early as next week. So we'll keep an eye out for Lee, who is certainly a person that makes you imagine and think and expand on it. Well, Barry, an absolute pleasure to have you here today. I always enjoy my conversations with you. I'm going to have you go backstage and hang out there so I can give you a proper goodbye. But for now, it's goodbye to our audience, and we'll have you on again real soon for everybody to learn more from you.
Thanks,
Barry. Take care. Well, I got to tell you, he is just an incredible guy. I have been so blessed to get to know Barry, to get to know Lee Kitchen, Dan Cockrell, his dad, Lee Cockrell from the Disney environment. Just some outstanding people. Dan's been here already. Lee is going to be joining us, and Lee Kitchen's going to be joining us, but maybe we'll get the great Lee Cockrell on here again real soon too. So for those of you that have never been to Disney World before, I am not here to endorse them, only to say that if you haven't been, you've got to get to Disney World and enjoy some of the magical experiences like this, because it's just an incredible place. And people like Barry, they're the ones that make the magic happen. So with that, I want to thank you all very much for being here today. You can we're not going to be here tomorrow on Friday. I will be back here on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of next week with more guests. Lee Kitchen included in that. He says he will be ready. So please come back and join us. Please also pray that next week when I tune into you and give you the weather forecast for Vermont, we get a little sunshine. So Barry, if you're still listening, please send us some Florida sunshine. Thank you all very much. Have a great day, and I'll see you again here real soon on Al Getler Live. And also thanks for ANC for being a part of this today and for being on the Facebook channel there. And we hope you enjoyed the show. Take care.